Standing at the edge of the field were three friends: me, Liam, Anna, and Eric. We were the self-proclaimed explorers of our sleepy town, always on the lookout for adventure. Today, our target was a chilling legend, the Devil's Labyrinth. "This is it, guys," I said, my voice dropping to a hushed whisper as I gazed at the crumbling brick wall before us. Anna, ever the pragmatist, pushed a strand of fiery red hair out of her face and adjusted the backpack slung over her shoulder. "You sure it's safe, Liam? This place looks like it's about to fall apart." "Safer than staying cooped up in your dad's bookstore all summer," Eric chimed in, a mischievous glint in his hazel eyes. "Besides, have you ever known me to back down from a challenge?" He puffed out his chest, a playful jab at his reputation as the town's daredevil. Anna scoffed, her lips twitching with a smile. "Challenge accepted, daredevil. But if this maze is as creepy as the rumors say, I'm blaming you." Her words were a light-hearted jab, but a sliver of uncertainty flickered in her eyes, mirroring my own. We all knew the whispers that swirled around the Devil's Labyrinth, stories of people who entered and never returned, of unsettling screams echoing from the depths, and of a darkness that clung to the place like a second skin. Anna squared her shoulders, a determined glint in her eyes. "Let's go see what nightmares this maze holds." Eric, ever the joker, grinned. "Just remember, guys, if we don't come back, blame the ghosts. They'll need someone to play fetch with." We exchanged shaky smiles, the bravado barely masking the apprehension building in our chests. With a deep breath, we stepped through the gaping hole in the wall, leaving behind the fading light of day and venturing into the unknown depths of the Devil's Labyrinth. "This place is creepy, man," Eric muttered, his voice barely a whisper. He kept brushing at his arms, like unseen insects were crawling on his skin. "Don't be such a baby," Anna scoffed, but her voice lacked its usual bravado. She kept glancing back at the entrance, the only sliver of familiarity in this looming labyrinth. "Ow!" Anna yelped, tripping over a hidden root. Her scream, short and sharp, echoed back from the walls, then died in the oppressive silence. For a moment, we just stood there, frozen in place. The silence roared in our ears, broken only by the frantic pounding of my heart. Then, a flash of white caught my eye, half buried in the dirt beneath the grasping roots. "Guys," I stammered, my voice barely above a croak. I pointed a shaky finger at the object. Anna and Eric leaned in, their faces pale in the dim light. It was a bone. A long bone, clearly from some large creature. "Doogie, what is it?" Anna whispered. "I don't know," I admitted, the fear tightening my throat. "But it doesn't feel right." Eric stared at the bone for a long, tense moment. Then, a forced laugh escaped his lips. "Probably just a dog bone," he said, his voice unconvincing. "Stray dogs, you know." With a shared look of trepidation, we pressed on, the bone a stark reminder that we were not alone in this twisted playground. The path ahead seemed to twist and turn more dramatically, the shadows deepening, the oppressive feeling growing thicker with every step. It wasn't long before we stumbled upon our first sign of the maze's grim history. Bones littered the ground like macabre markers, silent sentinels of the lives lost within these twisted corridors. Anna gasped, her hand flying to her mouth to stifle a scream. "Oh my God," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the pounding of my heart. Eric's face paled, his eyes wide with horror. Do you think they're human?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. And then, as if on cue, the bats descended upon us, their leathery wings beating a frenzied tattoo against the stale air. We swatted at them in a panic, our screams echoing off the walls of the maze. And as we pressed further into the heart of the maze, I knew that we were only scratching the surface of the horrors that lay hidden within. Anna's flashlight beam danced over the scattered remnants of human presence, illuminating trinkets and treasures that lay forgotten amidst the overgrown foliage. "Look at this," she said, her voice tinged with awe as she picked up a weathered photograph from the ground. It's like they were trying to leave clues. I frowned, the hairs on the back of my neck standing on end. Or warnings, I replied, my voice barely a whisper as I surveyed the eerie scene before us. Eric's gaze swept over the artifacts, his expression grim. Whatever happened here, he said, his voice heavy with unease, it wasn't good. But still we pressed on, our determination outweighing our fear as we sought to unravel the mysteries that lay hidden within the labyrinth's tangled embrace. As we ventured deeper into the maze, our nerves frayed and senses heightened. Every shadow seemed to conceal a lurking threat. Suddenly, a sharp crack shattered the eerie silence, followed by a dull thud as a rock struck Anna square in the chest. Anna staggered backward, her cry of pain echoing off the maze walls. "What the hell?" she exclaimed, her voice a mixture of shock and anger. We spun around, our flashlights sweeping the darkness, revealing a figure emerging from the shadows. He was overgrown and wild-looking, his eyes glinting with a primal intensity as he brandished a crude stick like a weapon. Eric stepped forward, his voice calm, but tinged with apprehension. "Hey, we don't want any trouble," he said, his hands raised in a placating gesture. But the savage seemed to understand no language but violence, his expression twisted into a feral snarl as he lunged at Eric, striking him with a savage blow that sent him crashing to the ground. Panic surged through me as I fumbled for my phone, the harsh light of the flashlight blinding the savage and sending him stumbling back. "Run," I shouted, my voice raw with fear as we turned and fled deeper into the maze, the savage's enraged cries echoing after us like the howls of a vengeful spirit. Our hearts pounding in our chests as we raced against the encroaching darkness, desperate to escape the clutches of the savage that lurked within. Every twist and turn seemed to blur together, the walls closing in around us like the jaws of a trap. "We have to keep moving," Anna shouted, her voice raw with fear as she stumbled over a gnarled root. Eric nodded, his expression grim. "Agreed. We can't let that thing catch us," he replied, his breath coming in ragged gasps as he helped Anna to her feet. Just when it seemed that all hope was lost, we stumbled upon a narrow passage leading upwards, a faint glimmer of moonlight filtering through the tangled foliage above. With renewed determination, we pressed forward, the air growing lighter with each step as we drew closer to freedom. And then, at long last, we burst forth from the suffocating embrace of the maze, our lungs burning and limbs trembling with exhaustion. And though we may never fully understand the true nature of the maze and its savage guardian, one thing remains certain. Some mysteries are best left undisturbed.